start off by saying all of these photos were taken in RAW, so that's why I have them open in Camera Raw. Also, this is just how I do stuff. This is how I edit. And let's go ahead and get started. Okay, so the first thing that I notice when I look at this photo is that it's underexposed, and I purposely do that. So when I open it up in Photoshop or Lightroom, whatever the case, today is it's Photoshop, I do that so I can bring up the exposure. It's harder to correct the photo or edit the photo with overblown exposure or highlights or whatever the case. Mostly whites and highlight in the photo. It's easier to edit when it's underexposed. So that's why I took the photo like that. But the first thing I want to do is bring up the exposure. Yeah, probably to about 30. And that just, there's literally no specific reason for that. I just mess with these sliders until I find what I like. Okay, so the temperature is very cool, and it was at golden hour, so I'm gonna increase the temperature to the yellow. And this is just what I like, especially when it's at golden hour, because you can get some really nice tones. And I'm going to bring it up quite a bit, almost to the point where it's like, why are you bringing it up that high? I think that's good. And because I brought up the temperature, now it's looking very green because it was shot in nature and there was trees and grass. So I'm going to increase the tint to pink. It doesn't look as natural to me, so I'm going to bring it up a little bit. Actually quite a bit. Yeah, that's good. Okay, now I am going to decrease the shadows. I like the contrasty look and decreasing the shadows. I'm going to increase the clarity to 3. There's literally no reason. Yes, so I'm also going to decrease the shadows a little bit more. I'm going to bring it to about 20. And I'm going to bring this to about 15. I'm going to increase the contrast. I decreased the saturation, so the photo is not oversaturated, but I do like to bring the vibrance up so that the colors that are in it still are bright. Next thing I'm going to do is go into detail, and I like to make sure that all my photos are very sharp the whole way around, so I increase the radius all the way to 3. It's because I want to make sure that the entire photo is sharp. And I'm going to increase the detail to about 50. I literally do this to every photo. No specific reason. That's what I do. Okay. And I'm going to go into tone curve. And I'm going to decrease the darks. Just slightly. And there. I think that's good. I'm going to go ahead and open it into Photoshop CC. So my dog's walking in the background. Hopefully you can't hear that, but I'm sure you can. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to do is create a copy. Actually, that's the first thing you should do. I'm doing it for 2 reasons. 1 is because I'm filming this video, and 2, so if I mess up, I have something to look at. Or I have that just in case I need to go back. Okay, so I'm going to turn the background copy off. And I'm going to go to gradient, and I'm going to go to the gradient color, and I'm going to select the last one, which is neutral density, and it should come pre-installed in Photoshop CC. And then I'm going to change the style from linear to radial, and actually no, I'm going to leave it at linear. Sorry, it's early this morning, that's why I sound monotone. I'm not very peppy, I guess. Okay, so what I'm going to do is click on the actual photo and bring it down. Okay, then I'm going to decrease the size from 100 to 45. Okay, click dinner, click OK. And now let's zoom out a little bit, and this is the before and that's after, and it's pretty intense, so I'm going to bring the opacity down from 100 to 40. And it helps focus the eye into the subject, in my opinion. And I'm going to select on the layer mask and get rid of any of the color that is on the subject. Like I said, especially their face, not so much legs, just the face, really. Okay, now I'm going to go back in and do another gradient. And this is just personal preference. I just like the look of this personally myself. So I'm going to change it to the last one again. But I'm going to change the colors from black to brown. And I think, or warm brown. That's important, a warm brown. So like click on the yellow or the orange and just select a color in the brown area, which is like right here. Click OK, and I just do this. I like the look of it. And you can choose the same color, it doesn't really matter to me. I just pick 2 warm browns and I click OK, and I change it from linear to radial, and I click thither, and I increase the scale quite a bit to about 275, and I just noticed that 275 makes it look natural, and it doesn't look like there's vignetting on the picture so much. And then I click OK, see the history. So that's the before, and that's after, as of now. Okay, dodge and burn. And if you don't know what dodge and burning is, it's like contouring, but all over your subject, if that makes sense. So, and if you don't know what contouring is, it just means you highlight your features and darken the shadows, if that makes probably any sense. Probably not. I will hopefully help by showing this video. So it's on dodge right now, or burn right now. Select it on midtones, and I think if you are 9 times out of 10 dodging and burning midtone on skin, anyways, midtones is the perfect range that you need to be in. And I keep my exposure pretty low. I don't want it to look too fake, but I do like an almost overdone look. It's all personal preference. That's just what I like. Okay, so I'm going to dodge all the shadows, and hopefully you can tell what I mean by shadows. So wherever the sun is not hitting, so like on the inside of your arm, and then you can see the sunlight is hitting right here on her shoulder, but there's shadows right here, and there's shadows right here, and there's shadows right here underneath her chin, and there's shadows on the baby's feet, which I mean you don't have to do. I'm not going to do, just showing you. And shadows along the side of the face, on this side of the head, or the forehead, this side of the forehead, on sides of the nose. Just follow the natural shape underneath the nose, and then along. I'm increasing the brush size with the bracket key on my keyboard, or you can also go to the top, but and along the side of the cheeks. You can also do underneath the lip, along the edges of the lip, along the side of the arm. This is, in my opinion, the longest part of editing, but I think it really makes a difference. Okay, let's see the before and after now. So before, let's see after. Okay, now I'm going to do the same thing, but I'm going to do the highlights. So I'm going to change from dodge, or burn to dodge. Make sure that you are on midtones again, just because it looks more natural in my opinion on skin. So now I'm gonna highlight all the features where the sun hits the skin, so where natural highlights are. So for example, on her forearm, right in the middle of her arm, tip of her chin, underneath the eyes, bridge of the nose, tip of the nose, part of the arm right there. You can also do the middle of the lip to give appearance of fuller lips. Definitely don't have to do this. I don't normally do this. I mean, I do sometimes, but not normally to clients. If I'm filming a video for the sake of the video, I will, just to show you the difference that it makes. But I think I went too far on this bottom piece of the hair. It's really distracting to me now, so I'm just going to dodge a little bit back over that so it doesn't look too crazy. Additional step, I like this because it makes the eyes pop, and I just like that. Sometimes they can go a little overboard though, so be careful. So start with shadows and work your way up to highlights. You can also do the same thing with the mom. I'm going to go to gradient. Okay, and I'm going to change it from linear to radial. Dither. And I'm going to change it from these colors to change this color from this darker yellow to a really light yellow. Click OK. Click OK. Click OK. Change it from normal to hard light. I have to go back in here because I forgot to move it. So I'm gonna move it up here. That looks a little too orange to me, so I'm gonna change this color from this mustard yellow to more of a lighter yellow, if that makes any sense. So almost to where it's pale. I'm gonna click OK. Yeah, I'm gonna have to decrease the opacity just a little. Okay, so the reason I made this gradient, in case you couldn't tell, I was trying to create a sun flare. And you could also do this by going to the brush tool and just using the same colors that I used and making your own sun flare like that. But a gradient is a quicker step and it's a little bit more precise. I still feel like the color is a little... So let's see the before and after now. And I just like the look of sun flares. A lot of people don't like them. I love them. I think they add to your photo. And I overdo them and I have no shame about it. So this is the before. And this is the after. Quite a significant amount of difference. Still feel like something's missing and I think I know what it is. I'm going to go to curves and I'm just going to drag the bottom points, I guess you can call it. I don't know if that's what it's called. I guess the bottom curve point, and I'm just going to drag it over slightly to decrease the shadows a little bit more, because like I said, I like a more contrasty look. So I'm gonna group that. So I believe on a MacBook it's Command Shift, and I believe on a Windows computer it's either Control or I think it's Option Shift, and you're gonna click group. The next thing I'm gonna go to is layer, an additional step as well. I personally like doing this when there are children in the photos just because it gives them a creamy skin look. There's different techniques for everybody. Not everybody's gonna like the same thing as I do, but what I'm gonna do, select my brush tool, click Option, select an area, and then decrease the brush size, and I'm going to paint onto the face. Now, just trust me, it's gonna be pretty intense right now, but so I want to take my brush tool, and I think I painted on her eye a little bit, so I'm going to erase that. Okay. So this just gives a creamier, dreamier look to the face. I think I painted off a little bit on her. There we go. Okay. So I'm going to decrease the opacity quite a bit to about 50. Okay, and now I'm going to make sure I'm selected on the layer, and I'm going to paint on her face. Now I'm going to decrease again to about 25. So this just gives the baby some color back into their face. Like I said, an additional step, definitely do not have to do it because their skin is always already perfect. So, but if you do child portraits and you want like that dreamy skin that you see in a lot of photos, this is one technique of doing that. Okay, so I'm going to click onto the background, and I am going to flatten the image. There's no reason for doing that. Okay, so I'm going to go into the clone tool, and I'm going to select the skin by clicking option and replace the scab and scratch mark on her arm. And also the hair ties. If you are still watching, which I doubt it, most people are, but if you are, comment hair ties are the worst because they are the worst to edit out. Select the option. And I try to select it where her skin, so it's like right across from where the bracelet is. Does that make sense? Select this area of the skin that's across from the bracelet so the tones look somewhat natural. So yeah, that looks really bad. And now I'm going to take the blur tool to blur it. So the skin looks like it's naturally her skin. And I missed a little piece up here, so and I'm going to blur some more just to make sure that it's all blended, because it doesn't look like it is right now. Now I'm going to click new layer, and I'm going to select my brush tool, click option, select that skin. Make your brush pretty small, zoom in, and I'm going to select that skin color. Okay, so that's probably as well as I can get it. I could probably take my time more, but this video is going to be so long already. Also, I don't know if I mentioned earlier, I can't even remember, but the reason I put the sun flare on this side instead of over here or more in the middle is because the sun is hitting right there. So you can also crop this area of the photo out, so you might not even have to do a gradient. And I didn't for the sake of the video. I'm sure I know I'm forgetting something, but I think that's where I'm going to end this video. I hope you enjoyed. Make sure to subscribe and like, and I'll see you in my next one. Bye!